Well, hello everyone, Tim here. Got a little bit of a tip for upgrading some vintage audio gear. Um, you can see I've got these large smoothing caps here. This is a Dynaco Stereo 150. It's an amplifier I completely redid this board with. New capacitors and new semiconductors. And I just moved over to the power supply side of the house and the power board side of the house, and I wanted to upgrade these really old capacitors, and you can see they really built these things well. I mean, they have these little screw bolts in them. The only trouble is, of course, old capacitors tend to be way larger than the newer modern equivalents. In fact, this is a 10,000 microfarad 75 volt DC microfarad capacitor. And this is a capacitor that I'm replacing it with. It's 22,000 microfarads at 80 volts. And you can see there's a substantial size difference. This one has a kind of a weird pin arrangement. Don't be fooled by that. It's actually just a 2-pin capacitor like a standard one. These are just for if you invert them onto a board and you want to solder it in and have it nice and solid on the board. That's what these extra pins are for. So it's really just a 2-pin capacitor in a smaller package than the previous one that occupied this amplifier. So what I've done is, rather than using the old tape technique, which I find doesn't work very well at all, because inside of these amplifiers it does generally get hot, or warm anyway, and what I find is with electrical tape, if you were to wind it around the base of it and put it into the cradle that existed for the old capacitor, these things tend to get really gummy, and they start sagging and all that stuff. So I haven't had really good luck with electrical tape, unless it's just a very small diameter change between the old and the new capacitors. So what I've done is I go online and I do I use a program, a web-based program called Tinkercad. It's just a small CAD program, and I designed this this cradle, or adapter, I guess you call it, an adapter ring, because the outer diameter of this one was 51 millimeters and this is 40. So what I did was I wanted to make up the difference to fit this cradle, the width of this cradle, which is 20 millimeters. And so I built a C adapter ring to fit the new capacitor, so it would fit the old ring that occupies that held the capacitor in place. So you can see I've actually got one placed here, and here you've got the positive terminal here, which I'll solder here. I'll clip these off and make it nice and pretty, and then of course I'll have a wire going up from the negative bar here down to the negative terminal. And likewise, this one is inverted, so this is negative and that's positive. And we'll do it that way. So again, I'm going to pop that one out, put this cradle in there at the right, with the terminals in the right direction. So this is a quick look. So I print these things out. I do them up in CAD, and then I've got a small little inexpensive 3D printer that I use to print these things out. I had blue in it, so that's why I was too lazy to change the PLA material. But if you're really, I kind of think it looks sexy. But anyway, you know, you can always do it in black or whatever color you want, because it's not like anybody's going to be looking inside and under the cover anyway. So that's a quick and dirty tip for fitting a smaller size capacitor into the capacitor well of a much larger one in these vintage amplifiers. So hopefully that helps anybody that is looking to find a good permanent way of seating these inside these amplifiers without having them you know, the tape go wonky on them and start to shift around and everything. So that's my tip for the day. Hope it works for you. Thanks for watching.